I've been a viewer of Booktube for almost a year now, and I get the sense that it's such a warm and welcoming community where everyone just has conversations about books. It's very easygoing by the looks of it, and I just wanted to be part of it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Foibles and Fancies. I wanted to do a tag video today, and since I'm new to Booktube and YouTube in general, I thought that I would do one of the newbie tags. Now there are a couple of new to Booktube or Booktube Newbie Tags going out there, so I couldn't really decide which one I wanted to do, so I'm doing them both. So one is called the Booktube Newbie Tag, and that was done by Brenda C. And the other is the New to Booktube Tag by Between Chapters. And here we go. And on to the Booktube Newbie Tag. Question 1. Why did you start this channel? I've been watching Booktube for almost a year now, and I've absolutely loved the conversations that have gone on in the comments and the discussions that have taken place on film. And I really wanted to be a part of it. In addition, I just rekindled my love for reading last year, and I wanted a way to keep myself accountable. So having to show my face here on YouTube every so often was a great way to do so. Question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Wow, I don't really know how to answer this question, so I'm just gonna move on. Question 3 is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? What are you most excited about for this new channel? The thing I'm most excited about is actually interacting with everyone out there. I think that is the strongest point to being on Booktube, is all the interaction that we get to have with each other. Question 4 is, why do you love reading? I think there are many reasons why I enjoy reading. I'm the kind of person who likes to experience all kinds of things, and I know that I'm not going to be able to in my own life, and frankly there are some things that I only want to experience through reading. Reading allows a person to see from someone else's point of view, and I think that's a wonderful thing. There are so many people from different walks of life out there, and it's so easy to get stuck in your own world that it's a really good thing to sometimes open up a book and just read about someone else's fictional life sometimes, or even non-fiction, and just to get some other perspectives out there, broaden your mind a little bit. Question 5 is, what book or book series got you into reading? My first sort of foray into reading was Enid Blyton. I think I read all of her books. So Up the Faraway Tree, The Famous Five, The Secret Seven, Mallory Towers, some boarding school called St. Clair's, I think. Anyway, all of her books. I just ate them all up when I was really young. When I was in primary school, I picked up the Sweet Valley Twins, and then I moved on to Sweet Valley High. So I did spend a lot of time reading Sweet Valley. Question 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? There are a handful of booktubers that I absolutely adore and do not miss any of their videos. I think it would be more about how they make their channel and all the things that go on behind the scenes. I'm really intrigued by that part of it, and I am so thankful for Reads and Daydreams for putting together that How to Start a Booktube Channel series. It's a great guide and very practical. I loved it. Thank you, Lauren. Question 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think for me it'll be balancing everything. I really want to be able to post videos regularly, but I know that there are going to be times at work where I'm just going to be so overwhelmed with work-related things that I'll have no spare time to do any videoing, let alone editing. So that's something I'm going to have to figure out how to do. I mean, I know there are a bunch of other working booktubers out there, so I know I'm not special, but you know, I'll have to figure out a way to work around that, and you know, I'll probably have to queue some videos up and schedule them to come out on a regular basis just before busy season starts. Things along those lines. On to the New to Booktube tag. First question is, where are you joining us from? I'm coming to you today from Southern Ontario in Canada, specifically the Niagara Peninsula, so I'm right on Lake Ontario. The next question is, how old are you? The light just changed. I wasn't sure if I wanted to answer this question at first, but I'm 35. The sun just disappeared now. Anyways, on to question 3. Why did I join Booktube? I enjoy trying new things, and even if they scare me just a little bit, I'm game for it. The idea of putting my face out there for the world to see, to sit in front of a camera and just like look at that little lens, it's all a little awkward, but you know, it's something that I would like to get used to, avoiding trying to look at myself up on that screen. I also enjoy learning new skills, so presentation skills I think is something that everyone can brush up on, and here I am trying to brush up on mine. You know, hopefully I'll get more fluid with speaking in front of a camera. I would say that I'm already quite comfortable speaking in front of an audience, but a camera is so different to an audience. You know, there's no one in that tiny little screen saying, yeah, go, or, you know, giving you cues with questions you might have. This whole film editing process has been quite the new development for me too. I was completely new to it, and it's been fun learning how to do various things. I mean, one of my videos had text along the top because my video was blurry, and it's just neat learning how to do all those things because I had no idea. I mean, I'm pretty clueless when it comes to these things, but I can learn. And my battery died. Complete newbie fail. Anyways, take 2 of filming my Booktube Newbie Tag and my New to Booktube tag. Question 4 is, what is the meaning behind your channel name? So, a little bit of a long story here. About 6 years ago, I started a book blog, and I called it This Week's Pairings. And my idea behind that channel was that I was going to review a book and pair it with either a wine or a cheese and do a bit of a double review. I was very ambitious calling it This Week's Pairings and pigeonholing myself into a book review specifically. And I also ran out of teas, and there was only so much I could do with that, so I abandoned ship and renamed the page Fables, Foibles, and Fancies. After a while, I started actually blogging about things that weren't book related. So I decided to cut off the fables and just call it Foibles and Fancies. I figured I could include books in that anyways because they are my fancies. But that is the evolution of Foibles and Fancies. Question 5 is, what type of books do you read or want to talk about here? I would say my favorite type of books to read would be adult contemporary fiction. I particularly like books about immigration or moving or being nomadic. Generally books that have a sense of belonging or finding it. I find those books to be very interesting. Maybe because I found myself in that situation more times than I can remember. I also tend to gravitate toward books that are set in places that I've never been to or I don't know very much about. So I both like reading about things that are similar to myself, and I also like reading about things that are not like me. Question 6 is, who are your favorite authors? I would say my top author is Anne Rice. I think I've read almost all of her books. I adore the Vampire Chronicles and also enjoyed the Mayfair Witches books. There was that period where she got a little bit religious that I did not really get into. Anne Rice is definitely up there as an author that I can name. Now, there are many other books that I have thoroughly enjoyed, written by other people, but I may have loved one of their books and not really liked another book, so there's no consistency there. Question 7 is, what's the last book you read? The last book I read was The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. Question 8 is, what are you currently reading? I always have 2 books on the go, one audiobook and one either ebook or physical book. The audiobook that I'm currently reading is Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie, and the ebook that I have on the go is Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. Question 9 is, what do you use for bookmarks? I wish I used pretty bookmarks. I'd love to get some, but I don't have them. Anyways, I often use little scraps of papers. If the book comes with a dust jacket, I tend to use that as a bookmark. Receipts. If it's a library book, library books often come with a receipt with when you need to return the books by, and I often use that. I'm resourceful when it comes to bookmarks. Question 10 is, show us your current TBR pile. I'm not gonna do that because most of my books are in my e-reader. But one sec. I do have a TBR pile from the library, and I don't know if you can see that, but these are it. So I've got Shrill by Lindy West, Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan, I Contain Multitudes by Ed Young, and The Dragon Behind the Glass by Emily Voigt. I actually have the audiobook for I Contain Multitudes as well, so I'll probably just listen to the audiobook. Question 11 is all about preferences, so here they are. Hardcover or paperback? Usually hardcover because, like I said before, I use the dust jacket as bookmark. But I also like trade paperbacks because they're lighter. I'm not a huge fan of mass market paperbacks, I think that's what they're called. They're the shorter, fatter ones. And then this is a great segue because I actually do prefer ebooks over physical books. And that's just space-wise. Like there was a time when I liked amassing things, but I'm at a stage in my life right now where I just want to clear the clutter, and that includes books. But it doesn't mean I want to stop reading books. So I just use my e-reader most of the time. Next one is owning or borrowing. I don't really have a preference. I mean, if it's a book that I just want to try, I'll borrow it from the library. Otherwise, if I see it and I like the sounds of it, I'll pick it up. Question 13 is, how did you discover Booktube? I actually have a very clear recollection of how I discovered Booktube. I remember being on the armchair one morning thinking about ways that I could be more productive in life, and you know, it was things like morning routines and waking up earlier, getting some exercise in, yada yada yada. But being the crazy procrastinator that I am, I actually went down the rabbit hole of bullet journaling, and I watched a ton of bullet journaling videos, and they're a lot of fun, by the way. But there are some booktubers out there who also bullet journal, and the first booktuber I stumbled across was Lauren Elwood, and she's based in South Africa and talks about a lot of books that are set in or written by African authors. And then I realized that people talk about books on YouTube, and I went down that rabbit hole, and I have been there ever since, and here I am now in my own little burrow. Question 15 is, where else can we find you? I am on Instagram at Foibles and Fancies. I'm also on Goodreads with the handle Foibles and Fancies. I do have a Twitter handle called Foibles and Fancies that I haven't started really using yet, so if you're on Twitter and love using it, feel free to interact with me on it and get me started. So that's my first tag video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like this video and consider subscribing. Like I've said a couple of times now, I hope to be consistent with posting videos on here for you to watch. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.